we're having the TUMBIIZA business stories powered by Goldmine Financing. Goldmine Financing as a business loan to make sure that you get the support, the bridge, and that hand that you need to actually either grow your business, start your business, or just scale it to whatever your dreams have. And today I am hosting somebody, you probably have seen the brand everywhere. You probably have tasted what she has made, and now it's time to hear the story, because that even connects us more to the brands. Brenda Sekabembe, you're the founder and also the CEO of Bake for Me Limited. First of all, that's so ideal. Bake for me. That's beautiful. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine, Flavia. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Yes.
I'm trying to think how many cakes of yours I have tasted. You know, through somebody has brought a birthday cake, and you know your branding is there a couple of times. You don't really know every cake that gets out in terms of taste. I'm saying, because you're not tasting everything that gets out.
No, we can't. But you need to keep track of what's going on. So once in a while you do taste.
Yeah. Because it can change, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. I know we started with the tasting because I was like, oh, cake. But the business has been, the brand has been on for how many years now?
20 years.
20 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
It is.
First of all, what was the story of starting?
Oh, I lived in a home where my mom would teach us how to bake. Once in a while, you know, you make something for a birthday, because she had learnt that in the school that she went to. So there was nothing much to call home about it, apart from an exciting time as, you know, children. You're helping your mom, you mix the dough, you lick the bowl, you wait for the cake to bake, and then you share it as a family. But fast forward, I went through the usual drills of life. I went to Girls High School. I'd wanted to be a doctor. Everyone during that time wanted to be a doctor, and I think I was a good candidate to become one.
Right.
My grades were fine, but something inside me, I listened to my intuition, and I'm like, no, I don't have the nerve for this. By the time I was ready to make my selections for university, I was pretty sure I cannot cut through a body, you know,
Watch
to
blood.
look at blood. I didn't have the nerve for that. So I opted for the next best option with the combination that I had done. Those sciences, and that was food science and technology. So I did food science at Makerere University. I completed, then went home to look for jobs. I started job hunting. And as I'm doing that, somewhere on Kampala Road, I had a relative who told me, whenever you're hungry, please drop in here. So I went there because I was hungry. And as we were having our lunch, yes, I was job hunting. So as we were having lunch, he stands up, pulls out his wallet. I still remember that moment so vividly, because that's when Bake For Me was born.
Right.
He pulls out his wallet and he gives me 10,000 shillings. And he told me his girlfriend then, currently his wife, wanted a cake. Please go home and bake me a cake. He knew that we had been doing some baking with my mom. So I didn't question whether the money was enough. I just
for
listened to
ingredients
him.
and stuff.
Yes, I listened to him and I baked the cake. So I brought it to him the next day. It was quite big. I remember it was a 12-inch diameter cake at 10,000. So his workmates, he had 2 workmates who were sharing an office with him, also asked for the same cake.
Oh.
Yeah, so they didn't pay up front. I went home, asked my dad for a loan of 25,000 shillings. That's what I needed to buy more ingredients for the 2 cakes. So when I brought this, I'm realizing, okay, now I'm making money. But imagine I've invested 25,000, but I am selling the cakes at 10,000 each. Because by default, I mean, he offered 10,000, so I was telling everyone the cakes are
10,000 shillings, right?
It didn't really matter. I didn't really have economics, any background in economics. Remember, I'd done sciences. So I started asking other people, by the way, I can bake your cake.
How much?
10,000 shillings. But I got a job eventually, a job and another and another. I think I worked in about 4 or 5 places before eventually I settled for full-time baking. And then I decided I still wanted an 8 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, when you've gone to school, you tend to think that you must
It's the best way.
be employed. So I decided to go for a master's. I chose South Africa. I did a master's in public health. It was such a good experience because I got to see, I got so much exposure on what the baking world out there is like. I was looking at this bakery. I volunteered. I couldn't be paid because I didn't have a work permit.
Yeah.
So I worked for free at this bakery that was churning out thousands of pies, of cookies, of bread. And then, of course, I was very, very interested in the cake department, the cake baking department. I think they were churning out about 200 per day.
Wow.
But interestingly, the bakery, with my 5 workers then, was sustaining me out there.
Oh, wow.
I could afford flights back. I think I flew back about 13 times to check my bakery, to handle important orders, wedding orders. I would fly back, work on a wedding cake, and then go back on,
And the
that would be
business
Friday.
would pay for the flights?
Yes, the business was paying.
Wow.
And yet I still wanted a job.
Because I'm like, why are you mastering in public health when you're
Yes.
busy taking your time interning in a kitchen?
Because public health was a good complementary to food science and technology.
Right,
And I still wanted to be employed. It felt wrong.
But I'm wondering, because there's something that happens from the 10,000 shillings you paid to another person saying, I can also give you 10,000, to what you're saying it was, the business that was able to pay for flights and all of that, and even employ other people. You had mastered probably the tastes, the decoration.
But I also moved away from the 10,000 eventually.
Yes, yes,
To
yes.
30,000.
But how are you learning all of that? Because you didn't have that business acumen to sort of say, you knew how to bake, full stop.
Oh my goodness.
How did we learn all that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, when you're struggling to survive, it's like I've heard of people who don't know how to swim, but when the moment of death seems near, you know,
All of a
you
sudden.
flap until I think that my survival then, or pulling that business out of where it was more of the need to survive.
Right. So then, after you master and then you come back. Do you come back and get a job, or do you stay there and get a job?
I got a very good job in South Africa. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, 22 million shillings.
Close the business and let's go work.
It was a short-term contract. I think about 6 months.
Okay.
But again, you know, all these dynamics come into play. As a young girl, you had your goals in life. By this age, I should be married. You know, I think I am ticking all the boxes. By this age, I should be married. And in my head, it had to be a Ugandan. So I'm like, no, the more I stay in South Africa, I'm not really hitting the other box. And the clock is ticking. So thank God, xenophobia happened. Xenophobia happened. I think I left 2 days into xenophobia. So I ran back. And of course, the job had ended. So xenophobia started. I could have asked for a renewal or looked for another, but somehow I wanted to come back. And at least I wasn't at zero back here, because I had workers, few years, but so I get back here and I get another job.
You're still in the 90s?
Yes. Imagine I'm moving from 22 million to 1 million in Uganda.
Ooh.
Yes, the job was at Mulago Hospital, paying 1 million shillings. It involved traveling, a lot of travel, yes. Well, thank God again. We got an accident. It wasn't serious. On one of those trips, we got an accident. So of course I was really traumatized. It was the first time really I came close to having a serious accident. So when I get back to the office and I'm asking if this had been serious, what would have happened? So I'm being told, so I'm working in this National Referral Hospital. And I used to think by virtue of working there, I'm entitled to being treated on the 6th floor. By then that was a private wing. So when I asked this question, I knew what answer I wanted to hear.
Yes.
But that's not the answer that came. Oh. I was told that no, you would go to the general ward and be treated. Oh my goodness. So by then I was making 1 million shillings and giving for 8 to 5 is how many hours?
Also, you're killing
yes.
the baby.
How many hours is 8 to 5? 8 hours? And then I come home, stay awake till late to finish. And then I'm earning about 3 million after whatever it is that I have to spend on. I'm earning 3 million profit from my business. So it was a very simple decision to make. But you know what?
It took you long.
Yes, it took long, but you know what? Let me put aside this
dream
and concentrate on the business. And I've never regretted it.
Wow.
So we started growing the numbers of employees from 5 to 11. Today we're 82.
Wow.
I didn't have an outlet then. You know, as you do the years, the demand pushes you to solve all these problems. Huh? Yeah, you're asking me how a business is scaled. You need to listen, one, to the people that you serve. When people keep screaming, when are you coming to Nalia, Nalia? You open an outlet. Then also Nintebered suffer so much when you have to go to
deliveries.
Then you open an outlet there. You know, of course you don't listen to everything.
I was about
because
to say, I don't want to listen and then open.
At times you can end up stretching yourself so thin, and then again you have to manage your costs. But yeah, so it's been growth since that was 2011, I think,
some time.
When I took up full-time baking. And actually today, I don't think anyone can afford me.
You and me are the same. We like the corporate, the feel of boasting that I work for this and for that. But even me, like I was telling you, Fair, that you know, the life sort of curves you into where you should be. Yes. But I'm talking about the people who are watching this, who are very good at, we're good at theory. You know, you put in PowerPoint that the business will start here, have this much money, go here, and eventually scale to this. Whereas for you, you were on the job. Yes. You expanded on the job, you learned on the job, you added on the job. I made
mistakes on the job.
Yeah. Is
many mistakes.
When you have to almost learn on the job and you don't even know what the next day will look like?
It was a good thing that I didn't know the end.
Right.
like I said, I was simply trying to float, you know. Right now, it probably will be different with what I know. Yes. But maybe it's better that way. I don't know. I mean, God, in His wisdom, knows what's best for all of us. Okay? So the mistakes are part of the process. And you learn from them.
What are kind of mistakes you'd make in your line of business, though?
So many. Employing the wrong people. Maybe not wrong. Oh, yes, wrong. Employing unqualified personnel.
Cheap labor?
Cheap labor, exactly. Actually, I have interviewed someone before. Now, this is much later in life. Huh? Probably it was about 5 years ago. I interviewed someone who was more mature than another candidate. But it's the money. When one of them said they could settle for 1 million shillings and the other one asked for 2, I quickly took 1 million shillings. But trust me, 3 years down the road, I was calling the 2 million person, come and work. It's best for every business to lower its costs as much as possible. And for me, what I've discovered is that it's best for me to cut out the middleman as much as possible. So whenever I start buying an item, eventually, of course, the quantities keep increasing. Then I'll start looking at it. Where is it from? Of course, some people here in Uganda are very smart. Our traders will remove the labels, and then they'll put actually their names on. But eventually, when you realize where this item is coming from,
you go to the
and
source.
You venture into importing that item for yourself, especially if you can use it in big quantities, you cut out so much. I mean, you reduce your costs almost by half.
Let's talk about financing, because you're one of the businesses that, you know, took advantage of the Goldmine financing.
Yes.
And I'm hearing your story and I'm thinking, where did you need the help?
Oh yes, I needed a lot of help.
Right.
Bakery is a business that really needs a lot of capital. So much as its cash conversion cycle is short. Like if I bought ingredients, within a week I've made money out of them, okay? But again, you want to stock. Okay, there are many economic terms that are coming in now.
And also, I'm wary to not use them. Both of us might get lost in and then lose the person matching. But is that also because you have to stock up because if the demand was 5 cakes today, next week it might be 50 cakes.
Yes,
and you need to be
ready.
Okay,
yes,
prepared for that.
You need to be prepared, and the price greatly reduces when you're buying big quantities. So for us to be able to buy from factories, for example, the actual manufacturers, they have,
you said you remove the middle
a minimum. Yes, they have a minimum of when they'll only listen to you when you're taking so much. Same as importing stuff from abroad. Now, Goldmine, our paths cross in 2021. I joined BNI, Business Network International, and I happened to be in the same chapter as the MD of Goldmine Finance, that's Mr. Alan Tayewa. And in BNI, we're encouraged to visit each other's businesses. Yeah, Alan came to visit my business. Oh my God, I wish I had the footage of that visit. I think at that moment, my husband and I had planned to start building.
For the business?
No. Our home, to move away, because you keep feeling the pinch, of course, the privacy and everything.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that was 2020 actually. So we had chosen to build that year. But you know, when I joined BNI, the pressure to professionalize my operations became very, very serious.
But up to that point,
yes.
Not that you were comfortable, Brenda, but you're like, it's okay.
It was okay. And you know, it's okay until you meet people who are doing better than you.
Yes. Exposure.
Yes. In fact, I remember in that visit, when we were having the conversation, I didn't even know who my competitors were. Alan asked me, who is your competition?
You had not done the market research.
No. And I used to think everyone who bakes was my competition. So I was like, no. It's only the people who are doing better than you. So it teaches you to look at the people who are doing better than you. Who's producing more cakes than you? Who's decorating cakes better than you? Who is enjoying a certain market segment that you're struggling to enter? You know, especially the market segments that pay a lot. You know, meaning that you'll have to put in less effort, but to make a lot of money. Yes. So he opened my eyes, and then the targets now increase. I'm like, I need to be out of here. This bakery has to be running more you can't be running a professional business in your house. I'm sorry, that's a fact. Okay, unless
that's why you have the experience to tell them not to do that.
Because I mean, there'll be boundaries, don't get in here, you know, and then there's space problems. So the first project that Goldmine helped us finance was our home.
Okay.
But again, like I said, the cash conversion cycle is really short.
Yes.
So Goldmine is giving me 60 million. Quickly in 2 months, I pay it back. They give me 100, I pay it back. Well, more money is coming in. So you don't want to affect the operations of the bakery and whatever else you're doing. So you just need to have money. And at the same time now, the business is growing. We're getting more and more customers. And you need more cars. Delivery, yes. I think one of our cars, 2 were small, 1 was old, breaking down all the time. So these vans, these drones, I think Goldmine financed about 4 of them, purchasing 4 of them. So by the time the car is here, the others have made money, you're paying back the loan. You know, as long as you're... I think Goldmine can attest that I really tried to be... Who's a good payer?
I get what you mean, yes.
You just need to be honest and consistent and an honest borrower.
Yes.
You know, when you say you're going to pay within 2 months, let it be 2 months. So it will be very easy for you to go back.
And get more.
Of course, you also have to be prepared in a way. You don't just wake up and go and ask for a loan. I mean, your bank statements should be showing that you can pay back on time. With every outlet that we open, our business simply tripled and grew and grew and grew. So it was such a wonderful thing. So yes, Goldmine was very instrumental in helping us achieve that without wobbling.
Yeah, because I want to say it was actually, if I look at it, it was a leap.
Yes.
And a leap in different facets of both the business and the personal.
What still makes Goldmine stand up out for me as a very satisfied client is that Goldmine chooses to grow with you. Other money lenders, I think some money lenders are selfish. They would want to keep you in a position where you're
Vulnerable.
in need, vulnerable, exactly. But Goldmine, I sat with the MD again, Alan, and he told me there is a course I want you to take on.
Right.
It will take up only one afternoon of your time, once a week, and it will stretch for about 2 months. I think that course was called the 7 Attributes of Agile Growth. I did it with Pastor Chris. Goldmine actually funded the bigger percentage of me
Attending this course.
attending the course. I think he knew that if he asked me to pay so much money,
He would say,
whatever amount it was, probably I wouldn't have. So when he told me I've paid
you go.
this fraction of it, you're only going to pay a small fraction. I went and attended. And Goldmine was again kind enough to give us their boardroom to study. Now this course is one of the reasons that my business turned around. Now to become very professional.
But what I've also found, I mean, businesses are sharing that, you know, with Goldmine Finance, they hold your hand.
Yes.
We are doing this thing, which I guess you're right. It's unlike anyone financing you.
Yes.
It's, will you give me my money?
Because when they hold your hand, when they make you better, it is very likely that you might stop borrowing as much. So to me, that's such a...
It doesn't.
Yes, I mean, this is a definition of an organization that's not selfish. You know, they don't want to keep you there. But again, also, the more you grow, I think the better for them.
I think it's actually a bigger advantage. I believe it's a case of, because now you see, big for me, you're looking at delivery service, you're looking at branches. There's a point where you might, because your mind is now open to growth at all levels.
Yeah.
You never know where your mind will go.
Regional.
And when it goes, guess who you're going to think of?
Yes.
So I think it's a win-win.
Yes, it is.
And that's fantastic. What would you tell us that you've learned about, especially the leap? You know, it's easy to be in that cafes where you're just...
Yeah.
It's okay, you're making some money. You're paying people and things. And you can say things are okay. When you decide to grow,
yes,
you have, and I think I like what Alan decided to do for you. You needed to grow,
yes,
as a person, because if the business leaped,
yes,
and you didn't leap with it, there'd be
true
a problem. What would you tell us about that leap phase? What did you have to know or become for that growth?
I had to learn to read. As a person, personal growth. I hate reading. I think on our second meeting with Alan Steele, this is now, remember he visited the bakery, made his observations, and then invited me for a one-to-one with him. I had to go to Goldmine. So when you walk into an organized...
It is quite organized. That's the one thing that stayed with me as well the first time I walked in.
When you walk into an organized entity, from the furniture, the staff members, they're branded. He actually taught me he taught me to
brand,
brand and be proud of my brand, wear it as much as I can. And then eventually you sit down with him and he's sharing his goals and aspiration, and he's dropping figures. He's dropping figures. I mean, where he wants to be that year. I don't even think I had goals for that year. That particular year when we were sharing, and talking to each other.
This is like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes. So I was saying, at some point, one of the mistakes that I made, I met this gentleman the owner of Take Group, Gasta Lule. And at that point, I'd imported. Funny enough, I went to Indonesia to check out a particular item, shortening, that I needed to use in the bakery. And when I got there, I got distracted by the tourism of the place. These things are embarrassing, but they happen. And I didn't reach the factory.
Oh, no.
And to cut a long story short, they loaded a container of a wrong item and sent it to Uganda. I paid taxes, everything, so many loans, Goldmine inclusive. And only to open and start using it, and the shortening was wrong. It was meant for bread. And I think it had a shelf life of only a year. So the clock is ticking, you really see loss glaring in your face, you have loans to pay. So I end up in this gentleman's office because he owns one of the biggest bakeries in Uganda. In fact, for him, he's regional already.
Yeah.
So he listened to me, he was kind enough, offered to buy this shortening of us. Of course,
it was meant for bread, and his business is really premised on bread.
Yes. I couldn't sell it, I had to sell it at a loss.
Of course. Yeah.
Not a very big one, but especially the taxes. Because I wasn't VAT registered, and he was, so he couldn't claim his taxes, so there's no way he could pay the taxes if he wasn't going to claim them. You know, that's how the taxes work. Yes. So he told me, I want you to take heart. Don't look at this loss. Don't leave it on your heart. Don't let yourself get drained by it. But learn from it. Learn from the mistake that you made, that you went to this country and didn't check. Next time you check and double check and triple check. Then secondly, he added, but if you don't pay taxes, you will not grow. Okay, I shoved that aside. I said, okay, thank you very much. You've saved me the loss, and bye-bye. Then much later when I meet Alan, he tells me the exact same words.
You don't pay taxes.
If you don't pay taxes, you will not grow. So today, I'm a proud taxpayer.
I like that.
Yes, I am. I am proud that I'm also adding a small brick to the growth of our country. And yes, with paying taxes, we have grown. And maybe one other thing that I should say, the turnaround time.
Right. From when you want to when you get.
I have never asked Goldmine for a loan and not got it the following day. And why the following day? Because I'm supposed to provide a bank statement, because I mean what was happening 6 months ago could have changed. So they need to be clear that updated. They need to do the due diligence. So apart from finding the bank statement and making sure that you've given it to them and you've signed all these documents, but I ask for the loan today and the next day I have it. Really, that beats any other institution. I mean, the banks sometimes take a month, and usually the lower the interest rate, the longer the time that you have to wait. And yet, whatever you want to do can't wait that long. So I really am very happy with Goldmine because their turnaround time is very short.
I like that. And with all the leap that you've done, do you get to a point where you're like, let me first freeze and hold here and grow here, or now you've got the leap in your step, like he has really pushed you?
Alan won't let that happen. Like I said, Mr. Taiwa, yes, he keeps saying, no. Keep going. What is not killing you, really? So, because again, like I said, from that beautiful course that I did, I learned to offload lots of stuff off me as a person.
You don't have to do everything.
I don't have to do everything. You learn to delegate. You get very good staff members, good managers, and then it gives you time to work on the business.
Absolutely.
That, in fact, reminds me, again, the first meeting, he made this statement. Brenda, you will have to grow out of your business. Yes.
Is that easy to hear for a founder?
No, it isn't. But once it starts happening, then you appreciate it.
Right.
Grow out of the business. Give chance to people who are, do you know there are people who are better than me?
Who are skilled.
Yes.
Doing this.
Yes. And you know, they offload you so much, and then you can plan
better
for the business. I mean, you cannot be thinking about expansion, maybe regionally, or, you know, right now we have a school actually. Have a school that is training, that is even attracting funding. So when you're busy in the day to day, so like I also said, I learned to study,
to read. Yeah.
to read. Alan encouraged me to read. He's given me books to read, and there was a very good one. Making Money is Killing My Business. When I looked at the title, I'm like, really? But when you read that book, the writer will highlight the fact that as a business owner, you shouldn't be on the day-to-day treadmill, getting so worn out, you're running after this and the other. No, grow out of your business. Sometimes you might be growing out and you realize it still needs you. Come back in, but work towards growing out again.
Oh, yes. It's intentional.
Be intentional, because it will give you time to think, to see what's happening around you, to travel, to learn from those who are better than you outside the perimeter of this country, you know? So move to other countries. Dubai, they have these wonderful, huge expos where you're going to look at people who understand what making money means. Then you come back and implement. But you can't do that when you're ordering for sugar, ordering for eggs, doing your human resource, running after your employee. No, you have to learn to grow out. So once you do that, then scaling
is easy. Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh my. I feel like I've gone to school. It's a good MBA right here. So thank you for learning and then teaching us as well. I think now you're not doubting whether it's a good choice for you to actually pick Goldmine Finance for your business loan, because you're not just picking the money and going, you're picking the information as well. You don't want to trust somebody who's giving you money, but all they're looking for is just give me back the money. Because it sounds like he's invested in, are you growing? Because then he gets to point and say, you see, Brenda, we're doing well with Brenda. So that's somebody you need as your partner. So if you are at any stage of your business, I told you, even if it's still on paper, you really never know where it could go. Go to Goldmine Finance and get yourself a business loan. What would you say to us as we wrap? Anything you've learned, somebody's watching and they're maybe at the phase you are, maybe they've gone ahead of where you are and they're making mistakes and they don't know how to come back, or they are just like you and they're thinking, when will I grow out of my business? But it is my business, but it is me, I am it. And they just don't know how to let go.
How to let go. What I would say is trust the process. Pray. God will always put enabling people. Because if I hadn't met this gentleman in BNI, really, I probably wouldn't be where I am. So trust the process. The mistakes are part of the process. And open your mind to learning and to unlearning. Open your mind to unlearn the wrong that you've been doing and then do things right. Yes.
Oh, I like that. And probably the highlight of today's interview with you, Brenda, I'll tell you, is the word you used, grow out of your business. She didn't say get out of your business, because that's nearly impossible. But put things in place for you to be able to go. Don't be afraid. Growth it comes in different ways and different shapes. She might talk 60 million, 100 million. You can go for less, you can go for more. It's okay wherever you are. This is the TUMBIIZA story with Goldmine Financing. Take that leap, get that support, get that bridge with Goldmine Finance.
COG Studios.